Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show with me, Kavita Thapliyal. Now, there are plethora of funds available in the market to invest your hard-earned money in, but how do you assess which is the right fund for your portfolio? What are the criteria that one should look at to help you navigate through this maze? We have on board Amol Joshi, founder, Plan Rupee Investment Services. Also, do not forget to send us your portfolio queries on our WhatsApp number, which is 865-797-4571. You can also email us your queries on themoneyshow@etnow.tv. Hi, good evening, Amol, and welcome to the show. And we have our first viewer on the phone line also connected with us, Mr. Gopal Iyer from Varanasi. Good evening, Mr. Iyer. How are you doing today?
Yeah, fine, wonderful. Good.
Thank you so much for sending us your questions. So, the kind of details you've given us, as per that, you've invested hugely in multi-cap funds, sir. All funds are very good, and in terms of performance, you sound happy. But then, why did you choose this specific category to invest so much in it?
In multi-cap, what I have gained the knowledge is that our funds will be invested in multiple sectors across.
Okay.
So I think even if the market goes down, also that will be managed. That is why I have invested mostly in multi-cap funds.
Okay. Okay.
And I have been investing over a long period of time. And all my funds have grown substantially. Now, I do not know whether I should continue with that or redeem something and invest in some other things.
Okay. So when you invested in, so I believe you only have multi-caps in your portfolio.
Not only multi-caps, but 90% is multi-caps only.
Okay.
Yeah. Large caps and multi-caps.
Okay. So what was the purpose of this portfolio when you started investing?
They see, I don't have no immediate any requirement of money. I'm keeping it. I'm just 52 years old and I'm just saving it for my future.
All right.
For another 10 years, I don't want any funds back.
Okay, so so the idea that with which you started investing in a multi-cap was the purpose of diversification, which is a very right strategy or an approach to have in a portfolio. But even in that, you are concentrated in a multi-cap category. So I'll just connect with our financial planner, who's the expert on the panel today and who will help you out. So Amol, although we understand the main thrust is on diversification, but then having just multi-caps, and 90% of his portfolio, he says, is multi-cap. As a strategy, how do you look at it?
I think, Kavita, I reckon multi-cap funds as close as you can get to a fill it, shut it, forget it strategy. Now, let's go a slightly deeper into what really a multi-cap fund is. The name itself gives you half the story. Multi-cap fund is a fund that invests across market capitalization spectrum. So multi-cap fund, as per SEBI criteria, has to invest minimum of 25% each into large cap, into mid cap, into small cap, and remaining 25% is on the fund manager's discretion. Now, somebody like Mr. Gopal Iyer, who says that I do not need funds immediately, that's a great news. If I heard him correctly, he also said next 10 years I do not need any money. So if somebody were to ask me a question for next 10 years, what should I do? What should be my allocation? I would say a significant portion of your equity investments can go to mid cap and small cap. Now, Mr. Iyer is achieving all of that because the multi-cap strategy itself compels you to invest minimum of 50% into mid and small caps. Now, that's part number one. I think going by that and given his long-term investment horizon, you can continue remaining invested into multi-cap funds, number one. Number two, sir, you also mentioned you have made good gains or you have seen good growth in your funds. Should you redeem and invest into something else? Now, people often think that redeeming from a fund that has done well and I'll go to a fund that has done poorly, that's not the right strategy because the mutual fund portfolio is not set in stone. Mutual fund manager, depending on their research and outlook, will continuously buy and sell various equity shares. So it is not to say that a fund that has consistently done well will not do well in future. So my answer to you is, if you're happy with your funds, you're also getting diversification across sectors, I would suggest remain invested in these set of funds. Just do not forget to assess and rebalance on annual basis.
All right. Is there anything else you want to ask Amol, Mr. Iyer? All right, we don't have him on the line, but then we hope that he got what he wanted to know from you. We'll move on, Amol, and we'll take Sunil's question. Sunil has a niece who's almost 2 years old, and she lost his father in Feb 23, and now he's looking to invest for her education via SIP mode, and he wants you to suggest him some mutual funds. We don't have him on the call, otherwise we could have asked him what kind of amount is he looking at and what's the time frame for that. But then, what would be your suggestion in terms of mutual funds?
Right. Kavita, so since Sunil has mentioned that he is wanting to invest for a child's education corpus creation, okay? So given that child's age is about 2.5 years, I would say that at least 15 to 18 years to go before you would need a chunk of money for your niece's graduation or post-graduation expenses. Now, going by the fact that currently, depending on your education stream, depending on your specialization, you are likely to need a significant amount of money. Also, given that over the next 15 to 18 years, inflation will also play its part in kind of, that amount will only increase from here. If we had Sunil on the line, I would have asked him what is the kind of amount that he wants to invest. But let me, since we don't have him here, I would suggest that if you start with a 10,000 rupee SIP, and if you do a 8% of annual SIP amount increase, also known as SIP top up or SIP step up, then over next 18 years at the rate of 12% of CAGR, Sunil, you will be able to accumulate about 1.15 crore rupees of corpus. That's the first part. That's the kind of amount that you will accumulate. Depending on your requirement, you can kind of increase or decrease this amount to reach your goal. Second part, you have also asked about which mutual funds to invest in. Since we have assumed that you'll start with a 10,000 rupee amount, I would suggest about 60% of your amount, let's say 6,000 rupees, can go into HDFC large and mid cap fund, and another 3 to 4,000 rupees can go into ICICI Prudential small cap fund. What we have done here is, since we have a 15 to 18 years, which is significantly longer time frame, over this period, having a slightly larger allocation to mid and small caps will probably give your returns kind of a kicker over this time horizon.
All right, so that's the solution for Sunil's query. And on that, thank you so much, Amol, for being on the show and helping our viewers with their financial portfolio queries. And we move on.